Thanks for coming in tonight. My name is Steve Spentoff. I am the principal of the Academy, and in typical St. John's fashion, in a tradition of any Jesuit school, we will start tonight with a prayer. I would like you to join me in this prayer for St. Ignatius of Loyola. This is the same prayer that your sons, if they're new to St. John's this year, are learning. So at this time, if we could all join in a moment of silence as we begin our prayer. Please join me. Lord, teach me to be generous. Teach me to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the costs, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and ask for no reward, save that of knowing that I do your will. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, and thanks for coming in once again. It's a pleasure to have you here tonight. It's always nice to get parents on campus to show off the building, and hopefully you feel as comfortable as we hope your sons are. Before we begin tonight, I'd like to bring up our new president, Mr. Carl Erdl, to join us. We wanted him here tonight, so he has a few words to share with you before we begin.
Thank you so much, Steve. This is going to be interactive. Could you all turn in that direction and wave to the people who are watching on the recording and couldn't be here tonight? We want them to know that they're loved as Titans too. I can't tell you how thrilling it's been to see your sons in the building. As I started in the summer and came, it's just too quiet. There's nothing going on except this amazing faculty working hard to prepare. Summer, nights, all summer long. How can I get better? How can I make it the best lesson? How can I model for your sons what they need to be as men for others? Can't you just see St. Ignatius the soldier writing this? Can't you see him saying, I want to fight with no wounds? That's our faculty. And they embody that, and they model that, and they live it for your sons in a way that is absolutely spectacular. This is the 4th Jesuit school that I've served in. And I cannot tell you how incredible mission-centered they are. And I want to thank you as parents for all your sacrifices, for getting them here for summer practices, for doing summer reading, for the financial sacrifices, for getting them after late nights. They know you're here tonight. They know that you care and that you support them. And that's part of what our community is. And this partnership between parents, school, and your son is going to make miracles. I've seen it in my 42 years in Jesuit education. I've seen it with men. I've seen it with women. We're so excited, and this year, as we unite hearts and minds, as our theme calls, is going to do great things. If I can be of any assistance in any way, please let me know. It's an honor to work with Steve and his entire team. Again, I'm so proud to present them to you, and I'm the only thing that stands between you and meeting these great people, so I'm going to sit down. But please reach out anytime I can help. Know that we pray for you each day at 7:20 in our Mass here. You're cordially invited. We'll have all kinds of events and activities and things to welcome you into our St. John Titan community. God bless you. Here's to a great year.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It's a pleasure having Carl with us, a tremendous leader, and we're really excited to work with him as he begins his adventures here at St. John's. Appreciate, again, all of you guys able to make it out tonight and make it through the storm. We're going to get through this as quick as we can so we can send you right back out in that storm. Just a couple of pieces that I have to share. The nature of the evening is information here as a group, and then we'll go to our breakout sessions by grade level. First, I want to touch on some academic issues at first. Teacher introductions, this group of people over here that's working with your sons, you'll be able to meet with them when we go to our breakout sessions in a moment. Sitting up front here is Mr. Garrett Malone. He's with Social Studies. Mr. Matt Johnson is Science. Mr. Jason Sinkowski is Mathematics. Mr. Michael Foll is Social Studies. Miss Angie Gutierrez is Mathematics. Father Brian Lahane, Theology. Miss Katie Shanks is Spanish. In the back, Amy Klink is our intervention specialist. Miss Lori Yaros is English. Nate Jean-Louis is Science. Deacon Brendan Gillen is theology, and Mr. Sam Fisher is health and physical education. Also joining me is Mrs. Knight, is our academy coordinator. You'll hear from her in a moment. And behind the screen is Mrs. Megan Hugic, our academy counselor. She has some words for you as well. So please take the opportunity to introduce yourself and meet with them when we get to our breakout sessions. If you have any specific questions you want to grab from them in those specific areas that they know far, far better than I do. As far as academics goes, go ahead, Mrs. Hugic. We are on a module schedule, and for those new to St. John's, that is what is commonly referred to as our block schedule. We will be on an extended period, which might be new for some of your sons. The period typically that they are engaged in a traditional setting might be 40, 45, 50 minutes. We could be anywhere from 82, 84 minutes in length, and so that's an important difference for these guys coming into school. The biggest piece for them that will change is they'll be on an A and a B day schedule. We are in our third year with this schedule, and we've seen some organizational pieces that have come up that have helped guys adjust to that schedule, right down to having a backpack for A day and a backpack for B day. So just different creative ways to help your guys stay organized. One of the pieces that's time management that we're trying to teach them is to utilize that class period. If they come home and they say they do not have a ton of homework, large part is these teachers are working with them on that work. And I said this last year, and I would repeat it. My son is an 8th grader. I want no part of his algebra class. I do not want to deal with that at all. I would rather have teachers working with him. And so we're trying to take advantage of that time with those teachers in the classrooms with your sons. Homework, they will certainly have time in class to work on that, but they will still have stuff to go home. As a former teacher, the biggest thing I would share with you about this schedule is help them prepare for tests and quizzes. One of the things that we've noticed over the A-Day, B-Day schedule is a student may have a test on an A-Day on Monday, and then that test does not take place until Wednesday, which would be his next A-Day. That can be a little bit confusing, and maybe he forgets to prepare. So if we're paying a little closer attention to that and helping them be prepared for those tests and quizzes, I think that's a very important piece, so that they're staying up on those assessments and prepared. Academically, one of the things that we pride ourselves upon is our Gurian Model School. Gurian is based on a social psychologist named Michael Gurian, who believed in movement for young boys and the study of young boys' brains. And so wherever possible, we're going to try to get those guys moving in the classroom, inside the classroom, outside the classroom, because you know as well as I do with having sons that they need to be active. Sitting and talking to them, they go blank. So hopefully we're modeling that as much as possible to keep them active in the rooms and to keep them engaged. Academic supports. Anytime I speak to parents, I want to give you some information that you can walk away with that are useful tools to help you. When you're looking at our two technological devices, one is PowerSchool and two is Schoology. The easiest way to use these and for you as a parent to adapt to them is to understand that PowerSchool is where you will see grades and upcoming assessments, and Schoology is where you're going to find class materials and homework. So if your son steps out for a dental appointment, he can simply go to Schoology to find class notes, assignments, anything that an instructor is using in class will be in Schoology. The A+ Learning Center, now in my third year as the principal, I've really tried to connect with them to get their services closer to the academy. For those who have been through the building and on a tour, our learning center is kind of on the far end of the building and distant away from where our academy students are in classrooms. So we're really trying to get creative with ideas to get services closer to your sons should they need them. A great many of our guys will take advantage of the A+ Learning Center. I would encourage you to, if your sons are struggling at any time, it doesn't matter if he's on any documentation or any paperwork. If he's struggling to get prepared for an upcoming test or quiz, please encourage him to certainly see the teachers. But the second piece would be to go visit the A+ Learning Center. They are open Monday to Thursday until 4:15. And I guarantee you there's people in there after 4:15. If you find that your son is struggling in a particular discipline, please use that resource. There are trained people there to help your sons in whatever discipline that they may need some extra help in. We just want to really make sure that's available for all to access. No appointment is necessary. Please stop through. We now have a tutor available, and beginning on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it started today as a matter of fact, there will be a tutor on hand from 11 to 1:30. 1:30 inside our academy in a classroom setting. We do not really want to pull your sons out of core classes, so we're going to try to get creative with lunches and a wellness period that I'm going to talk about in a quick second, so that your sons can be pulled out of a non-essential environment like a math class or an English class, so he can utilize a trained tutor that can be there to sit and work with him. It's really important that we make sure that we have those services available for your sons so they're finding the success that of course you wish for them to have as well. Titans on Track. So we experimented with this late last year with our wellness period. We took our lunch period and we found a chunk of time for the guys to be outside and blow off a little steam. In addition to that, where we can get them outside or in the gym to have a little bit of that, get that energy out, we paired that with our at-risk group, which is students that are a little bit struggling in those classes that we're trying to identify from our end. If they're struggling in that at-risk report, we're going to mandate that they go to Titans on Track. That Titans on Track is during the lunch period, and it will also be with a trained tutor on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we can be a little bit closer to them and their academic pieces that they may be struggling with. So those are pieces that I want you to remember so you can hopefully back us up from home. If he's trying to dodge the Titans on Track and go to his wellness period, we're going to do our best to track them down and make sure they get where they need to be. After school testing room, another thing that we found with our A Day and B Day is guys that may have had 1, 2, or 3 or more absences in a row, making up tests and quizzes became a difficult thing to schedule. So we are going to have an after-school testing room. So if your son is in an extended absence, hopefully we hope that doesn't happen, but if he does, he can make up his test or quiz in after-school testing in the room with a teacher. One of the things I'll tell you there is just making sure that we're making sure your sons are where they're supposed to be. And we'll do our very best, but I'm sure none of them would ever hide and run away from a test, so I'm sure that'll go just real smooth. Just a really quick piece to add on mentor groups. Mr. Malone spearheads our student life department. Our mentor groups this year are going to be focused around the teachers. Last year we had a house group, which was basically 2 mentor groups that would be paired up with activities, whether they be inside or outside the building. This year we really want to focus on the mentor group. So picture a group of 5 6th graders, 5 7th graders, and 5 8th graders. Those 15 kids make a mentor group. We will do activities in the classrooms with in discussion based, maybe activities physical outside the building. But it's a way to get your sons to meet other people, have contacts with other teachers, other adults in the academy. It's just a great way to kind of build some more rapport within the school. And that's a really important piece for us. And those groups will be meeting 4 days a week. So we're really going to really accentuate the mentor group, so hopefully the guys get involved there. Next, I'd like to bring up Mrs. Brenda Knight. She's our activities coordinator. Chances are you've already received plenty of communication from her, and she wanted to offer a few really important pieces of information.
Hello. It was nice talking to some of you as you came in. It's so sincerely great to have the kids here. The Titans are back in the building. The summers are really important. We get a lot of work done, but the joy comes when they walk through the door and they're back and we're in full swing of what it really is to be a school. So we're so thankful for you sending them to us and trusting us, and we hope you know that we're always available to help you with any questions, anything that comes along from the students, concerns that you have, confusions that happen with all of these things that you are learning from a school that you've probably been at for many years. I will say that we're all in agreement that it looks like on the surface that the kids are transitioning, the new students are transitioning well. I think when they're in the classrooms, those are easy ways to be comfortable because it's structured and they're safe in those classrooms. We kind of gauge a lot on the surface in the hallways and at lunchtime. And we start the year off with tables that are semi-assigned, and by this week I would say that they're no longer just at those tables. They've kind of branched out and they're finding their own ways and own groups of people, and that kind of shows us that they're getting comfortable. I do want to share one story, and this is the heart of what all of you like to hear and what we love to see. Today, there was a student in the lunchroom that was sitting by himself, and we walked over to him and said, "Hey, what you doing here by yourself? Let's head over to another 6th or 7th grade table," whatever it was. And as it was a 7th grade table, because as we're starting to talk to him, a returning student from the 7th grade popped up somewhere and came right over and all of a sudden said, "Hey, why don't you come sit with us?" So he must have kind of caught on to what was going. He swooped up the boy's book bag, he swooped up his lunch bag, the boy packed up his lunch and off they went and no longer needed anybody else to help him. And that's what it's all about, and that's what we're always moving towards. So that just fills us with sense of joy and beauty for them. The only bit of business that I'll talk about is the attendance. So far attendance has seemed to go pretty smoothly. We have an app. If you have not signed up for the app, it's an important piece for your success and understanding what's going on all the time. Our newsletters are a very, very important piece. If you feel like you're not receiving them, and I know some have not been receiving them, please see me or any of us tonight so we can follow up on that. But go to your app. If you haven't logged in yet, just put in St. John's Jesuit, it'll come right up. And there is an attendance for high school and an attendance for academy. Go to the academy. The preferred choice is the form. By filling out that quick form, it's just a couple little buttons that you click. It comes to my email, and it tells me if you're picking someone up early, if you need to have him come in late, if he's out and for any amount of time, and you'll record all that. It's very simple and it's very clean. The piece that I want to emphasize is the program we have at 10 o'clock, if it has any unexcused on there, and that just means Johnny's not here, and I haven't changed him to not being here, so it has a U. The teacher put in Johnny's not here, so it's a U. I go in and change that by 10 o'clock. But if I don't, or if I haven't heard from someone to know that Johnny's not here, then you'll get an automatic response. And I know last week some of you have gotten those, but you'll get an automatic response. It says something along the lines of, he's unexcused, he's at risk of detention, all those things. Now, it's a little different in the academy. He's not at risk for detention in the academy. But the point of that is really for your safety and our safety, and primarily the boys' safety. You want to know that they're safe and they're in class, and so the program tells you that they're not here. Never hesitate to call and say, "I dropped him off, I know he's there." I will check, I eyeball him and tell you if you don't hear back from me, everything's good. But always know that if you can get that done by 10, that will be the easiest. If at 10 o'clock and on, all of a sudden a dentist appointment comes up, or you realize, oh, I've been scrambling around and I haven't let the school know that he's out sick today, that's no problem. But the easiest way to get that information to me is then to text me. And my number, I think most of you have in your phone, but it's in the newsletter, because I will not always be checking that email at 10 o'clock and on. I will occasionally check it. But the fastest way to say, I just got a last-minute dentist appointment, I need to pick him up in a half an hour, that's fine. Just text me and I'll be able to coordinate getting him. So that is the end of the attendance. Feel free to call me, and thank you for sending your Titans to the academy.
Thank you, Brenda. Certainly the Academy wouldn't be the Academy without Brenda, and everything she does is the cornerstone for us. As I look around the room, I just want to take a moment to thank all the parents that have been here for maybe their second or third time for our parent night. You represent kind of the difficulty that we have with our student body every year. We have almost half of our students are new. And so bringing those new students into the fold and creating the culture of the Academy is very important for us. And so I appreciate those of you that are here for the first time, or some of you that have been here for 2 or 3 times. It's really important to always have your support from home. In light of that, I want to just touch upon Cura Personalis. It's a big piece for us as educators in a Jesuit school. It means care for the whole person. In light of that, it kind of guides much of our philosophies and how we interact with your sons. I believe strongly in creating connections with the students over the content. As I say every year, it's not that I don't value the content, it's just I very much value the relationships that we are able to form with your sons. As a teacher and a coach here at St. John's, those relationships that I've been able to generate are far more meaningful, and I'm able to do so much more with your sons when I have a close relationship with them. And so we try to do that in the classrooms as well, making sure that we know your sons as best as we possibly can, while at the same time providing them with the valuable content that they so need. Building that trust in those relationships extends beyond the classrooms. We have tried to get in already getting your sons involved in many different things. I know fall sports are underway, looking for more people to get involved in the fall musical. And so if there's an opportunity for your sons to jump into an extracurricular outside the classroom, please do so. That's always a big piece at St. John's, is creating those meaningful relationships away from the room as well. We also try positive relationships that I believe will limit their student behavior, and that correlates directly to the restorative justice pieces that we have tried to practice. You're going to hear from Mrs. Hugic in a moment, but many of you that I spoke with you on family interviews, when we sat and we spoke, I talked candidly about the diversity that we have here at St. John's and how proud I am of it. I'm an alum of St. John's in 1995, and during my time as I returned, now my 26th year here at St. John's, the single greatest thing that's changed in this school is the diversity. But at times that diversity comes with conflict, and we have students that will make mistakes, but it is in those moments that we really try to create teachable moments, and with our restorative justice to try to repair those damages that were made by having conversation, and very candid conversations through peer mediation. Mrs. Hugic and I have had, she's taught me a lot in sitting and speaking with kids on sensitive topics that maybe they don't know, maybe they do know, maybe they made a mistake, but it's things that I'm willing to take on head on, and making sure that those students are held accountable for it and that they understand the mistakes and move forward with that. And my conversations with many of the parents during these processes have been very fruitful, and I appreciate your support from home during those difficult times. Additionally to that there is a behavioral system that we use here at St. John's. If your son does something that is out of line with inside or outside the classroom, in the commons, in the hallways, the first step that you might see coming home to you during those moments is a behavioral reflection. Big thing for the Jesuits is a reflection on behaviors, a reflection on your actions. It's the first step that I try to have them do if they step out of line and the teacher is trying to correct them. You may find a sheet coming home that is asking them to reflect on their actions, what they did wrong and what they could do to correct them. That will ask you then to sign that sheet. I'm hoping that you will then have a conversation with your sons on those behaviors, and that sheet then comes back to the teachers that they are part of the conversation. So it opens up a level of communication through those situations. After that, if the behaviors continue, you will get a referral, a behavior referral that will be issued, that will come to me, which will then lead to some type of an infraction that will lead to a jug. Justice under God is what we do here and what we describe it, and it is scaffolded in behavior, starting with a 30-minute after school, to a 1 hour, to a 3 hour, or to whatever restorative justice piece that we need to try to help correct some of those behaviors and help them get back on the right path. We started last year with the zero gaming strategy. As a former teacher, one of the things really troubled me as a teacher was a kid having the iPad out in his room, having a phone in his hand while I was trying to teach. It really bothered me, and I wanted to support that as a principal to these teachers. They put the time and the effort in to prepare their lessons, so in response, they deserve to have the respect from those students giving in student engagement coming back the other way. We ask that they only have the iPad out during times when the teachers wish for that device to be out during instruction. Cell phones, part of life. We talk about this in your family interviews as well. We understand there's going to have a cell phone, but we ask that they be in door pockets and off their person while they're in class. Again, focused on what's going on in the lesson. If they are caught with a phone on them, then they will be subject to the discipline system and having jugs, going so far as to ask you to come in to pick up your son's device from him so I can bring you in on the conversation. Our teachers are very patient and they're willing to work with them, but at the same time, they want to make sure that those students are following what they're doing in the classroom. So our zero gaming strategy has been very positive. We have had guys certainly step out of line, but it's something I think it's really important to make sure we're reinforcing what's going on in those classrooms. At this time, I'll bring up Mrs. Hugic, again, our Academy counselor, to have a few words from the counseling department.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Megan Hujic, the school counselor here in the Academy. So my role in the Academy is to support all of our students in their academic, social, and personal development. So I will meet with all of our students throughout the year. A few of my first initiatives, first of all, is to meet all of our new students. So I have all of our new students in for an individual appointment where I get to learn more about them and how I might support them this year and explain my role to them too. And along with that, I've sent out a parent survey to all of our new families. So either in a direct email from me or in the Monday Minute, you can find that survey. I appreciate more than half of you have already filled it out. It gives me your own perspective on the strengths and how I might support your students. So I appreciate you helping with that. And then next week, we will kick off our 6th grade social emotional learning lessons, where I go in once a week in our 6th grade foundations classes with Mr. Full. And we'll talk about all kinds of lessons, anything from dealing with anxiety, how to make healthy choices with attendance and things like that. And the main goal, the common theme, is if we build up our resources and our coping skills, we can build our resilience and handle the things that are going to come across in our time in the Academy and much farther beyond. So please never hesitate to reach out if there's anything that I can help you with.
Thank you, Megan. Once again, she does a great job with your sons, building quick relationships with them. So if there's anything you should need, both from a social, emotional standpoint or even academic, she's certainly there to help at any time you might seek outside counsel. A couple last bits before we break off to our breakout sessions. Communication and technology. It's always my quest to make sure that every email, every phone call is returned within the 24 hours. The best way to reach these teachers over here is by way of email. They do not have telephones in their classrooms, so email is the quickest and best way to reach them if you're looking for answers in a particular area. The Monday Minute, Mrs. Knight alluded to the newsletter that's gone out. We have changed it this summer. I'm sure you've been made aware. The thing I ask for you is to work out that thumb as you scroll through the high school information. There's an awful lot of information there, but what we were trying to do is make sure it's one-stop shopping for information. So all high school, because some of you have sons in high school as well, we wanted all 6 through 12 communications in one spot, so you can find all the information you need. It just might require a little bit of scrolling to get and to find where it is. We're looking for to send out a survey in the next couple of weeks to get some feedback from you on how it's being received. If it's things and ideas you might have to make it easier to identify the information that you need, but we certainly wanted to make it one-stop shopping so it's a little bit more clear communication to you. iPad concerns, that's always going to be on tap as we go through the year. Certainly things beyond just the battery being dead, but Mr. Ryan Thompson is head of our technology, and if there's anything that your sons need, please try to tip us off coming in first thing in the morning if there's a technology issue, and we'll direct him in the right processes and the right spots to get him the help he needs. The Power School app, if you haven't already done so, that's another way to get some communication on your phone, is through the St. John's app that you can put on your phone. Once you get that, it's another resource of information. Hopefully you get used to your technologies and how you're getting communication, but the two pieces I would certainly encourage you to follow is the Monday Minute and then the Power School app. Two last things with nuts and bolts. The dress code. If you hadn't noticed or heard, we changed the dress code only slightly. As we finish up this week, we will be in polos, khakis, and athletic shoes. But starting on Friday, we will have our tie ceremony. More in a second on that. When we hit September through May, starting next week, they will be in button-down shirts, whether white or blue, khaki pants, and athletic shoes. That was the big change to the dress code. I'm very proud of it because I believe that it really suits our philosophy in the Academy with our Gurian model with movement and engagement in the rooms. It also fits us when we do our wellness periods, our mentor groups, to get them up and active. We were going down to the turf or to the gym, and your sons were kicking off their Sperry's, and it was just not working out. Guys are running around in socks on a gym floor, and my feet were hurting just watching it. So we went to athletic shoes. The rest of the dress code is standard as it's been for many, many years, and I think it just really supports what we're trying to do here in the Academy, and if it makes your morning a little bit easier getting your sons out of the door, then I'm happy that it serves that purpose. So of course then on Friday we're allowed a polo Friday. We have a dress down polo. I think it's really great that we're able to teach students how to dress up, shirt and tie, but then also teach them to go business casual on a Friday with a polo, and we will all wear the same polo throughout the entire Academy, and I'll give you more on that in a second. Book bags, the high school went book bag free. That's not something that I would wanted to subscribe to in the academy, so your sons are still allowed to use a book bag. Teachers figure out their own ways to store them in the hallways or in the classrooms, but for primarily organizational purposes, I think it's important for those guys to have those book bags to keep the stuff on that they need. And then finally, for the main office, if there's anything that's going to be dropped off, this is primarily driven out of a security piece, just make sure that it's dropped off at the main office. They will let us know. It could be a lunch, it could be a book bag, who knows what you guys are bringing here. But just make sure it's dropped off in the main office and we'll get it from that. One piece I did share with your son's on the first day for orientation, no DoorDash. If you forget lunch, please don't DoorDash. I don't want to eat that much Chick-fil-A, but I will. But if people were DoorDashing, it just was not something that fit for us and caused a tremendous distraction, so please don't do that. Finally, Friday's tie ceremony. It's a tradition in the academy that your sons will all get their class tie, different ties for each 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Please come. Please join us. It's great. It's a tradition in the academy since the beginning 20 years ago, and we will have them certainly in different sections. They'll get their new tie, and certainly take that as an opportunity to get some pictures in and around the building. Hopefully it's not storming like it is right now, but you'll be able to get some pictures with your tie to kick off the school year with our dress code starting Monday with wearing that class tie. So certainly parents are welcome. We ask that grandparents stay home only because we're limited in space. So if you please just, your parents come and join us, you're more than welcome, but just we're worried about space as far as the size of the entire chapel. Finally, the bookstore is open tonight. I mentioned those Academy polos that are for sale. They can wear them off any Friday throughout the school year. They are in. If you pre-ordered one of those polos, they will get them tomorrow and Thursday. If you have not ordered one, the bookstore is open until 8:15. Please breeze through there. Grab a polo, grab a hoodie, grab all sorts of stuff. It's pretty impressive, the bookstore. We're really proud of it, so grab any SJJ swag you see fit, but that's open tonight for your convenience, okay? With that, that's the end of our program. We will go to our breakout sessions. You will be joined by predominantly teachers at that grade level. They will give you a number of different pieces of information. Please feel free to contact them, talk to them, ask questions, anything that you see fit, or just introduce yourself. That would be fantastic. So 6th grade at this time, you will go out the back of the chapel to the right and go to the A+ Learning Center. 7th grade parents, please stay here in the chapel, and 8th grade parents, please go out the chapel to the left to the Commons. Thank you for coming.